if you guys remember, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was a politician, he was an actor, he was a bodybuilder, he was all these things. The most recent thing I think he's famous for is his comments on screw your freedoms during COVID. That's the thing people really remember him
Well, no
for.
wonder he's on Howard Stern then. He's a COVID authoritarian, and they fit in with each other.
What he says is we're over-babying youths, which creates a generation of wimps and weak-minded people.
I wonder if locking the youths in their homes for 2 to 3 years had anything to do with that, Arnold.
Let's listen to this clip from him with Stern.
It's so funny because it has nothing to do with the question.
Ozempic seems like...
Yes, he's like, here, what are your thoughts on Ozempic? And he's like, well, that's
Gen Z!
No wimps and babies.
Yeah,
here we go.
What do you make of this Ozempic? Ozempic seems like it's avoiding the big issue.
Well, to me, it's all about hard work. You know, that's why I say in
Starve
that
yourself.
Book, you know,
Don't take
work
Ozempic.
your ass off.
See, the name of the book is
Seven Tools for Life.
He couldn't even get to 12.
On, man.
He couldn't even get to 12. He's like, I don't need no 7.
He has tools, not rules.
Yes, exactly.
And you have to kind of put the work in. And, you know, I talked earlier about
Bucko,
the bicep.
clean your
The
room.
more you kind of torture the bicep, you know, the more
He like makes them all
resistance you give it.
different. Like one of them's it's like keep your car clean. he just steals all of Jordan Peterson's rules.
Wait, was that one of them?
No, but I'm
Okay,
saying,
I
but
was
clean.
like,
But I'm
what?
saying, but I like the idea. It's like
This is just something random.
it's like the meme that says like copy off me, but don't make it obvious.
Yeah.
It's like don't clean your room, clean your car.
Jordan Peterson is texting him the answers from his BlackBerry in class.
Here we go.
The more pain there is, the more it grows. Earlier about the bicep, the more you kind of torture the bicep, you know, the more resistance you give it, and the more pain there is, the more it grows. The same is with us, with the human mind. The human mind can only really grow through resistance. You can only strengthen your character and become a really strong person inside if you have resistance, if you fail, if you get up again, and if you work hard, and if you work your ass off, and if you struggle.
I guess it's kind of related because Ozempic is a shortcut.
Yeah, he's like, don't take Ozempic. Just starve yourself. It's harder that way.
Well, he's talking
all
about
the hard work.
he's talking about working out and how to actually grow your muscles, you have to.
I know.
Resistance matters.
But he just wanted to pivot it to talk about his book, which he's selling.
It's funny because to me, I just think that, and it's not even his fault that when you're his age and you've reached his level of success, it's very hard.
Is there more in it?
Yeah, we're going to get back to this.
Okay.
It's very hard for somebody who's his age and reached his level of success to be able to kind of empathize with the struggles of somebody who's growing up now. Because the struggles of somebody somebody's growing up now are very different than the struggles of somebody growing up at his time. And both generations are going to tell you you've had it easier than us. The boomers are going to say you've got it easy, your life is comfortable, there's no threat of war, there's no threat of this. And Gen Z will say, yeah, well, you bought a house for $9,000 and went to college on a weekend with a job on the weekends, right? Like I feel like the number one, the most prevalent thing that Gen Z is struggling with is doomerism. Nihilism.
Yes.
And that's just not going to resonate because to him, it was just a very different struggle at that time. Optimism was still prevalent.
Mm-hmm. So. And they turn to movements like communism or body positivity or mental health like psychobabble because they have nowhere to turn. They weren't passed down religion or tradition.
Actively avoiding it.
And they're looking at the hot crazy scale of rent going up and wages staying stagnant or going down.
They've never been propagandized that
there's
much.
really no hope.
Yeah.
So that's why I said earlier with you, I said I don't begrudge Zoomers having a communist phase as long as it's a phase, because I mean, what else can you really do?
I mean, that's what I always point out to them. It's like, look, when you make these things about the boomers who have ruined the housing market, even though you're right, it's not going to turn these people to free market economies. It's not going to make them believe in the free market because they don't. They've been propagandized into considering what is actually corporatism as capitalism. Therefore, they've been poisoned on the idea, which previous generations were not.
Do you know anything about Arnold Schwarzenegger's upbringing? That
I don't. Other than he grew up in Austria, I think he had a family member that was. Oh, there's a $20 one here from the Ninja. Hold on.
The ninja from Pop Culture Planet
says, when I was a kid, I remember the VHS copy of Last Action Hero. There's a commercial with him telling the kids, I'm going to turn your mush into muscle. It's sad to see how the mighty shrivel. He's not in touch anymore. Like, I almost don't begrudge him that. He's like a gazillion years old.
Yeah.
Here, let's finish this clip.
You struggle, the further you're going to go and the stronger you're going to get. So this is just the way the rule works. Anyone that tries to baby themselves and pamper themselves and trying to protect themselves, oh, I don't want to feel bad, oh, I don't really want to go through any discomfort, it's over. You're never going to get there. That's just the way it is. I mean, you have to be able to struggle, and if you're not able to, work on that. Work on that you're learning how to accept pain, misery, and discomfort, all of the things that you don't like, because the more you experience the things that you really don't like, the more you can grow and the tougher you become.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I do it is actually one of those things where I know it's like old boomerish advice, but it's important.
No pain, no gain is a good life lesson.
It's important. Like, I understand that not all kids are going to love sports, but I do think that sports and physical activity are very, very important for men to get into at some age. Right?
Yeah.
Some would say for, like, if it's sports, it's because they need to learn how to work as a team. Or if you do martial arts or you get into a combat sport, it's about being able to
self-discipline, camaraderie.
Yes, absolutely. And those are notions that are kind of like, in those communities, they're important, but there's a strong element of people laughing at it now because there's people that look at the outcome of life and say, why would I want to put myself through more hardship than I'm already feeling? Because they have a naturally nihilistic view of the world.
I hope that he has the same opinion about Ozempic that he has about steroids.
I don't think so.
Because that would only be logically consistent, wouldn't it?
You'd think,
no
right?
pain, no gain. It's all about the resistance. Don't make things easier for yourself. Don't get comfortable.
He's like, look, I'm in my bulking phase anyways. I'm not in a cutting phase right now, so.
You get, and the more you can handle. I mean, it's just that simple. So many young kids that they kind of shy away from that. But you have to be attracted to that. Just think about, and I talk about that in the book, I mean, what built this country? What built this country? Is it people that slept in?
It's people that stayed locked in their house during COVID, Arnold. That's what. It's
people that post on their Instagram story at 4 a.m. saying, like, daily grind. He
is also right that you have to be attracted to that type of life too, right? Like, I was talking recently about how, like, I got re-injured recently from skating because, like, skating became such an important part of my life at such a young age that I didn't go days or weeks without doing it. So when I would get hurt, I would end up re-injured quickly because I didn't know how to take time off, even though you're always kind of generally sore. So it's really, there's this really great meme that says, like, when the doctor asks you, like, how bad's the pain on a scale of 0 to 10, and he says, like, well, whatever the normal amount is. The doctor goes, the normal amount is 0. He says, like, I'm the normal amount in pain. Like, you're always just kind of sore. Your
one is pain.
Yeah, like you're kind of always sore. Like, you walk around, like, my knee just pops and all this stuff. But it's like you've grown to love what you do more than you hate being in pain or struggling. And a lot of people aren't falling into that pattern. I also saw a report recently that said, like, kids enrolling in team sports has gone down.
Yeah.
So.
That were wimping out. It says, oh, I want to feel good. I want to be comfortable. No, these were ballsy women and men that went out there at 5 in the morning and got up and they struggled and they fought and they worked their butts off. That's what made this country great.
But when Kim Kardashian says it, she gets dragged for saying work harder.
Right.
And so now let's continue this way. Don't start creating a generation of wimps and weak people and stuff like that, where we go into be concerned about how are you feeling today? Oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And also, it's nice to be considerate. Yes, I totally agree with that. But
way to qualify your statement.
Over baby the kids, and let's not over baby kind of the people. I mean, let's go and teach kids to be tough, to go out.
I would love to know what his take is on spanking. Like, hey, Arnold, what is your, like, should kids be spanked? Should kids,
How many kids does he have?
I don't know. That's a good
Also,
question.
is he married? I really don't know much about his personal life.
His son is a bodybuilder now. Like his.
Yeah, who is his? He has a famous daughter-in-law, right?
Well, that's married to Chris Pratt.
That's his son-in-law. Sorry. Yeah.
Son-in-law. Chris Pratt is married to Maria Shriver.
Okay.
He's there's a great Bill Burr skit talking about how many lifetimes would you have to work to become as successful as Arnold, and he's right.
What do you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris Pratt, 2024?
Arnie can't run. Arnie can't run. He wasn't born here. He's not allowed to be president.
But that's in another part of this interview with Howard Stern. He asks him, like, do you wish that you could have been president? And he was saying, like, I feel like I have what it takes, but
he's probably more coherent than Biden by just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
A tiny bit. Like him and RFK can run together based on like old jacked dudes. That's what they can do.
Old jacked Democrat dudes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me laugh because it just makes him being governor of California feel like literally 10 lifetimes ago. Mm-hmm. Like we've lived 10 political lifetimes in the time since Arnie was a politician.
What year was that again?
So I was watching, guys. Do you know which year he won for? But it's funny because I was watching. He had a cameo in the original Expendables movie because he was still in office at that time. It was great. But yeah, it feels like we've lived 4 lifetimes since then. And Jesse Ventura was my governor in Minnesota, but he wasn't a Republican. He was an independent, I believe.
I don't know why, but when Jordan Peterson essentially says the exact same thing, I am so much more receptive to it. Yep. Like, he's essentially copying off of Jordan Peterson's homework here.
Yes.
Saying the same clean your room, bucko, no pain, no gain message. Yet, when Jordan Peterson says it...
2003 recall vote.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
When Jordan Peterson says the same things, I don't know, maybe he's just more eloquent. At delivering it, and also he's not a COVID tyrant. Yeah,
I think being able to present, I mean, that's a big part of Jordan Peterson's appeal, right? Yeah. Is his ability to present it to you in a way you're like, it's kind of like when people say like British people just sound smarter. It's like, they just sounds like he's so soft spoken. It's like, he wouldn't lie to me. Listen to this guy.
Mm-hmm. His Canadian accent just like, really sells it for
me. And when you're a Canadian, and when you have a Canadian accent, you're just more likely to trust them, right? Because why would a Canadian person lie to you? They're so nice. Like, all of this advice would have been good advice at any age, right? Everything that he's saying here isn't necessarily bad advice. I just think that the idea that the youth of today have the same struggles or concerns as previous generations. It really is more, in my opinion, about the fact that we're kind of put through constant psychological warfare because of our phones. You're always being sold a product. You're always being propagandized by something. You're always being mentally attacked in some way, shape, or form. And you see the result of it in our culture now, I think. And I just don't think that he would be able to really get that. And it's not even his fault. He's just too old to be able to understand that.
Also, like, I'm just so tired of the conversation always being about who has it harder. Everyone engages in that same argument. Like, who has it harder, men or women? Who has it harder, Gen Z or millennials? or which generation had it the hardest? It's just
so
like
the boomers
pointless
can tell you. So the boomers can tell you to work harder
for like who has it the hardest, who's the biggest victim, and who has the most leverage to tell other people how to live. It's really the result of cultural Marxism, which evolved into the term wokeism, which redefines all of society into hierarchies, like social power hierarchies.
They edited the cultural Marxism page on Wikipedia.
Really?
Yeah, it used to be like a fairly straightforward definition of the term, and now it's
more charitable.
Now it's called a right-wing conspiracy. It's not real.
Yeah, every right-wing conspiracy.
Yep. I wonder what
has a Wikipedia page now.
Basically, right? So yeah, it's just sad because I do think a lot of it, like in the past, like if you grew up in his generation, or even really mine, right? Ours was like 9/11 led to the war in Iraq. So every previous generation had a foreign enemy that they were being sold to by the media. right? Russia, Afghanistan, Iraq, China. Like you've been sold a bag of goods that there's a foreign enemy that brought people together as a country.
Yeah.
Now you're being sold now the enemy is mental health in your neighbor and your right-wing neighbor.
The enemy is domestic terrorism.
Yeah. And that's wreaking havoc between that and the unstable economy and a dour tone to the world.
Dour memes.
Dour memes has turned has turned the future generation into a very, very different place than the one we saw before us. But you can't really blame them because they've been propagandized at every corner. It's not shocking to me. But I do think that there is a lot of solace to be gained in finding something that you really, really become passionate about that involves physical activity. Because right now, guys, I haven't been skating in over a month, and it literally, like, I've had to take, like, I can't run yet because my leg is still hurt. So it's like walking. That's what I can do, and that's about it. And that has wreaked havoc on my mental health in a lot of ways because I am so used to skating so many times during the week, so many days a week, which is both a physical benefit and a psychological one. And not having that is a very bad thing for me. So I really do recommend almost everybody find something like that, some type of physical release from the world.
What happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger's divorce? What was the story there? It was the housekeeper.
He cheated on her with the housekeeper, yeah.
Didn't we talk about this, or was that a different person?
Maybe a different person. I mean, it's come up on the show. I've mentioned it before.
Yeah, you said she wasn't even as hot as Maria Shriver.
Well, the Bill Burr skit he goes like, why would he cheat on his wife with like the ugliest woman you've ever seen? And he goes like, I'm not saying I'm a pro.
Whoever's taking care of your home and your kids.
Yeah.
You have this biological urge.
Yeah. And that skit turned into a thing where he goes, why was he always dragged and why was the housekeeper never dragged? He goes, why was she never called a whore ever? He goes, she knew his wife, met their kids, slept in her bed with it. He's like,
well, if you think about it, in this situation, you can interpret this that he's taking the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he should not do that. He should be making it harder on himself.
Maybe the reason why divorce rates are skyrocketing is the same reason people are taking Ozempic instead of working out to lose weight.
Yeah.
You don't want to put work into anything that's uncomfortable.
Do you think it's true? In the chat, Chris Welch says, it is demonstrably true that kids today are wimpy. My little nephew can be killed by a peanut. Do you think this generation is? I mean, it also kind of goes back to the thing where people talk about like how much younger the generations look now than they did. They show you videos of people who graduated high school
Something's
in the 80s,
in the water,
and they look like they're on their way to their like retirement party already.
I swear it's not just the fashion, it's not just the hairstyles. People's faces literally look more babyish.
Yeah.
At the same age.
It absolutely does feel true to me. Like they like.
But again, I mean, it's not your fault if you are born into the age of softness and helicopter parenting and being in a cushioned room.
Technically,
all the time.
it's the generation before you's fault for babying the kids.
And is that because Gen X were the latchkey kids? Who knows?
They kicked us out of the house and told us don't come home until the streetlights come on, which was actually true.
Yeah. So now I'm going to keep watch of my child 24/7 and never let them have independence.
I was either the
process.
streetlights come on or my dad whistled to me from across the suburb like a dog.
I like watching parents encourage their kids to do dangerous shit.
Yep.
It's cool.
It
is.
I was. I don't know if I was encouraged to do dangerous.
Like climb
things,
up that high ledge,
I mean, I had plenty of stitches growing up from doing stupid things that my dad just probably saw from the window and was like, idiot. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.